Hey everybody, it's low carb and keto nutrition specialist Amy Berger bringing you the one and only keto without the crazy. Speaking of keto without the crazy, remember that we now have merch. We've got coffee mugs, we've got tote bags, t-shirts, sweatshirts. We've got some really great keto without the crazy merch or swag if you prefer the term swag. There's a link to the merch store in the notes. And perfect timing for the holidays. Put it on your Christmas list, put it on your Hanukkah list if you would like a little keto without the crazy swagger. Put it on your list for whatever other occasion you may celebrate this time of year or all year round. Okay, on to the topic today. Do you remember the Miracle on the Hudson? A few years ago, or probably at this point it's several years ago, but it feels like only a few years ago, there was an airplane that had two catastrophic engine failures. It had a double bird strike. And so this aircraft basically had zero engines. And Captain Chesley Sullenberger, remember Sully, Captain Sully, landed the plane safely on the Hudson River. Not in the river, on the river. And thank goodness, because it was in, like New York City, New Jersey area, there were tons of water taxis and ferries right nearby. They saw what happened. They rush over. They're able to bring everybody to land safely. But Captain Sullenberger and the rest of this crew were trained in how to handle that aircraft safely should some type of catastrophic malfunction happen, as did occur that day. So if you, I promise this is related to keto, I'll get there soon. If you were about to board an airplane onto, some faraway locale, would you rather get on a plane where the crew tells you, we can handle this aircraft safely as long as the skies are clear and everything's smooth and we have no equipment malfunctions, and if everything works perfectly inside and outside of the aircraft, like weather-wise, we can totally fly this plane safely and get you to your destination? Or, yes, some of us would sign up for that, of course. I want to get to my destination safely, but would you rather get on board an airplane where the crew says the same thing, we can get you to your destination safely and pilot this aircraft safely when the skies are smooth and clear and there's no malfunctions, and also when there's severe turbulence and when we have an engine failure and when some piece of equipment or instrumentation goes out or malfunctions? I think that most of us would probably rather get on a plane where we know that the crew is trained to handle the aircraft and get us to our destination safely, regardless of what is happening. That they are able to pilot and maneuver and navigate, with the aircraft under very difficult, unexpected circumstances. So, I promised that this was related to keto. We need to learn to be people who can stick to a very low carb or keto diet in difficult circumstances. How many times have I heard from clients, or have you maybe said to somebody, or you've heard this in various groups you're part of, I was doing really well, I was sticking to keto, and then life happened. Life happened. What does that even mean? When is life not, life is happening right now. Is there ever a time that life is not happening? I know what they mean, right? When we say something like this, we mean that there was some unforeseen, unexpected, very stressful, very difficult thing that happened. It could, the loss of a parent, the loss of any loved one, unexpected end of a relationship. Somebody could lose their job. You may need to relocate suddenly, or somebody, your child gets sick, God forbid. These things, or even, hell, even a flat tire, a poor review at work, something that's not catastrophic, but kind of isn't that great either. And we use this as a reason for why we stopped eating very low carb. Something very difficult in life happened. Therefore, I could not eat fatty proteins and vegetables. I don't really know where that makes sense, but actually it does kind of make sense. And I want to address this before I go on to explain more about this. It is actually perfectly 100% logical and rational and understandable that we would seek to soothe or comfort ourselves with food, with sugar, with starch, with something that we don't normally eat when we are sticking to or trying to stick to a low carb or keto diet. When things are very difficult, it is completely logical, and it makes perfect sense in the human brain that we need something to calm ourselves down, to soothe our emotions. And for many of us, it's just easier to reach for food. I mean, some people, of course, will reach for alcohol, but some people may even, scrolling through social media to distract themselves, a compulsive exercise, gambling, like any type of habit or behavior that can be taken to a destructive level. It is completely like a normal biological response to want to numb out. The problem is we cannot do that again and again and again and expect to get the results we want from a keto diet. If you want keto to work, or low carb, or whatever your flavor of lower carb eating is, if you want it to work, you have to actually do it. And you have to do it consistently over a long period of time. You can't just do it for 2 or 3 days. Oh, and then something, difficult happened at work and I was off plan, and then I was on again for 2 or 3 days, and then I had a fight with my spouse and I was off. So you are not a bad person. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you if you have been turning to higher carbohydrate foods to soothe yourself in difficult times. But let's at least acknowledge that we cannot do that on a regular basis and expect to get where we want to go, whether that's losing weight, reversing your type 2 diabetes, reversing PCOS, fatty liver, all these issues that we know keto is good for, right? So you just have to become someone like those flight crews who can navigate difficult circumstances in your life and just stay on course, stay on plan. And, no one is ever force feeding you, tying you to a chair and shoving high carbohydrate foods down your mouth, right? So we always have a choice. Okay, something difficult happened in life, therefore I was forced to eat XYZ sugary food. No, we make a choice to do it. We always have a choice. And I will post a link in the notes to a video, well, 2 videos. I did a video a while back, probably before many of you were with me. I did a video on I did a series on emotional eating, and one of them was this topic, staying keto when life happens. And so I'll post a link to that, but I will also post a link to a video I did on food prep. Preparing food ahead of time, not meal prep, food prep, different. I know you're like, what? What's the difference? Watch the video and find out. Because preparing tons and tons and tons of low carb foods ahead of time can make it much, much easier to stay on plan when life does happen. When something unforeseen, unexpected, difficult happens, if we have a large supply of suitable food on hand and ready to go, then it's never like, oh, I had to run out the door and all I could grab was a granola bar. All I could grab was a bagel. No, I could grab a bag of sausages. I could grab a bag of roasted Brussels sprouts, whatever. So anyway, watch that video because it just will give you some concrete, actionable strategies of how to do this, of how to set it up so that it's easier for you to stay on plan when the sky is falling. And I kind of said this earlier, but just to reiterate, it doesn't necessarily have to be something really devastating and life-changing. I mean, those types of events tend to send people off plan more than the everyday little things. But it's the everyday little things too. Your kid threw up, your dog got sick, I think I said a flat tire earlier, just some, your stove broke or something. Just something that, like, wow, that's really annoying. I was not expecting to have to deal with that today. And that can also sometimes send us into something high carb. We just have to learn to do what to do what we need to do when it's easy and when life is smooth and easy and when life is turbulent. So, what else can I say? Sorry, I'm getting my thoughts together here. There are a lot of other things that we would never consider doing when life is hard because it's just something that we would never consider doing. It's not even on the radar. Like those of you who are parents and you have young kids, and these kids need to be fed every day. You need to cook them some meals or have some food on hand for them. And it would, I can't imagine you ever saying, well, I have to take care of my sick elderly mother. Therefore, I'm not going to feed my kids today. Like, no, it's too much. Forget it. The kids, I'm not feeding them today. No, you of course would still make a meal or multiple meals for your kids because that's just what you do as a parent. You are taking care of these helpless little young people that need food. And so in the same way that you would never consider letting your kids go hungry just because you've had a bad day or a bad week or something, we have to get to a point where we would never consider eating lots of carbs just because XYZ difficult things are happening. You know, that's maybe it's a silly comparison, but it makes sense in my mind. There's just a lot of behaviors that we wouldn't engage in. We wouldn't even think of engaging in them because it's just not the norm of our life. And if the norm of your life is eating a very, very low carbohydrate or ketogenic diet, then you would also never think about, never really entertain the possibility of just doing something just because, like, oh, it's rough out there, therefore give me some pretzels, chips, whatever. So I know there was something else I was going to say. What was it? This is what happens when I don't have notes. I don't know. If you are new to my channel and you're not subscribed yet, what in the world? What are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. Sometimes I get a little squirrely in my videos if I don't make notes. Sometimes my mind wanders a little bit. Don't let that turn you off from subscribing. If you like the message of simplicity and sanity, nobody needs another food list. What you all need, I think, what I need is mindset tips, is ways to think about eating this way and how to make it realistic and doable and possibly fun and enjoyable for the long term. So that's what I do here at Keto Without the Crazy. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the merch. And I do consultations. If you are struggling with keto, if you are doing all the right things or what you think are all the right things and the results you want are not coming, check out the link in the notes. I am available for one-on-one consultations. So for all of your questions, all of your concerns, consider booking a slot. And that is it. I hope that's helpful. Just think about what kind of eater do you want to be? Somebody who can only stay on plan when everything in your life is perfect, which, pro tip, that never happens. So if you're waiting for life to be perfect, good luck. You're going to be waiting forever. It's just not a thing. It's not going to happen. So I know what I was going to say before. When life is difficult and we go off plan, that is different from making a premeditated, advanced decision that you are going to have something, because you didn't do that by default. You didn't just, there was no other option, therefore you ate whatever was handy. Let's say it's the holidays or it's some other special occasion, some social function or whatever, and you might make a conscious decision ahead of time to say, I'm going to really enjoy Aunt Mary's coconut cake, or we haven't been to this restaurant in 2 years. They have the best blueberry pie I've ever tasted. I'm going to have the pie. That is a very different scenario from being off plan, and especially being off plan for an extended time because we don't know why, because life got difficult and you did not know how to feed yourself low carb foods when life was difficult. So maybe I'll make another video about that sometime. But like I said, check out the merch, links to consultations. I'm also on Patreon if you're interested. Let's make a pact that we're going to do keto whatever life throws at us. Because here's a news flash. Eating high carb foods never makes difficult situations better. Never, ever, ever. Eating a certain food does not bring somebody back from the dead. If you are mourning somebody, grieving the loss of somebody, eating high carb foods, not going to bring them back to life. And I'm not trying to be like facetious here, but I'm just saying there's nothing about that that's going to actually change or fix the situation. Eating high carb foods is not going to get you a new job if you've lost a job. It's not going to repair the relationship you have with your spouse if you're on the verge of a divorce. In fact, eating high carb foods can sometimes make it more difficult to deal with difficult circumstances. Why? Because in addition to having to deal with the difficult circumstance, now we have to deal with maybe a stomach ache, maybe heartburn, maybe joint pain, maybe brain fog, maybe just guilt and shame and self-loathing. Maybe just the inner model, I can't believe I ate that, why did I do that? So now on top of an already hard situation, we've just added a whole new layer of difficulty on top of it that didn't need to be there. Okay, now I'm officially zipping it. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.